that we launched back in a couple years ago is going to really come to fruition today, and we're really, really excited about it. And to kind of give everyone kind of a heads up of what happened, is a couple years ago, I think about 3 years ago, Orville and I got together from the church and just says, you know what? There's all these kids in Haiti, and this director of this mission in Haiti went to our church, and there was all these kids that needed food and needed a sponsor. And I thought to myself, what if we created a way to connect families from our church with the kids over there in Haiti so we could provide them food and education and help them? And so a few years ago, we started out calling it When We Care. We changed it to what's called Sponsor Care. And we started what's called Sponsor Care, where for $30 a month, you can provide food, clothing, education, and partial medical treatment for these children that are starving in Haiti. And so we started this a few years ago and built this website that you can kind of connect, and you can go online and see, pick your child, put your parents, your family's picture with their picture, and this really neat thing. And about 5-6 months ago, God just started really putting in my heart going, there's so many more kids that need help. And we had about 60 of them that we'd been sponsored and done some really neat things over the first few years. And yet God was really playing in my heart that we wanted to just do much more than that and help many, many more kids over there. And so I started praying about, God, who's the person that could just take that one piece over and just run with it? And I started praying, and in the midst of that, I heard this buddy of mine named Lou Morano was heading over to Haiti to help build a church at this mission. And Lou got saved a few years ago, and God is radically changing his life in this process in the last few years. It's so neat to see what God is doing. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to ask Lou just to head this project. He owns Capital Carpet and Tile, built a lot of businesses, very, very successful in that world. And I said, maybe he could take that and we could take this to another level, if you will. And so I talked to Pastor Philip, who was heading the project up at that time, and I said, hey, what do you think about me asking Lou? And he says, well, Lou's not even going to be close to the kids. He's going to be someplace else, so, I don't know if you want to wait. And so I said, okay. And so after Lou gets back, I just pick up the phone and I call him. Hey, Lou, what do you think about this whole idea of Sponsor Care and everything like that? And what do you think about heading this up and moving it from 50 to hundreds of kids? And so Lou said, absolutely. He was so excited. I'll let him tell the story. And so we're here to launch this. Lou Morano, come on out. Let's give him a hand. So Lou has really devoted, all volunteer, flown over there multiple times, spent a lot of money on his own resources to help make this happen and help develop this team, and has done such an awesome job. So Lou, take it away. I know you're shy.
Huh?
I know you're shy at public speaking.
That's
so
always been a big problem of mine.
Pretend you're in front of a TV camera.
It started a few months ago when 4 of us from the Journey went to go put a roof on top of a church in Haiti. It was Dave Vandenberg, Paul Rexroad, Rodney DeFranco, and myself. And I had never been to Haiti before. And the obvious thing is when you land, you see all the poverty and it's desolate and it's terrible. But one of the things that you realize why that is, where we went, it was nowhere near where Port-au-Prince was. The earthquakes have absolutely no effect on the way these people live the way they live. They live the way they live because there's absolutely no there's no businesses, there's no stores, there's no shops, there's no industry at all. So they basically just exist. And the other thing that you see, which is just unbelievable, is the amount of garbage that's around. There's garbage in the streets, there's garbage around their homes, there's garbage in the ocean, there's garbage in the streams where people are washing their clothes and where they're bathing, and where children drink out of. I mean, it's just absurd. So we get to where the church is, where we're putting the roof on top of the church, and another thing that we notice every day that we're there's these same 10 to 15, 20 children under the church, in the church, without any shoes, and they're just there. They don't go to school because they don't have any way to get to school. They don't have any money to get to school. Their parents can't afford to even get them food because there's no industry there. So I go to one of the schools. Now keep in mind, this ministry, Brent and Diane, are you here? Could you stand up, please? Brent, these two people started this ministry 20 years ago. 20 years ago, the two of them, and they've built 5 churches and 4 schools with 700 children. The two of them. And a couple of other people. Not a nonprofit organization with 12 floors and 100 people, the two over 20 years. And I'm at the school and I see these children and I ask, what's the situation? And he says, for a sponsored child, which is $30 a month, the money goes to the school, the child, and the child's family. And that child gets a uniform, gets an education, a Christian education, gets medical care when needed. And this is the part that got to me. The child gets to eat once a day, so that when it goes home, it doesn't have to eat, so the rest of his family can eat. Gets to eat once a day. It's a nice meal once a day. So when they go home, they don't have to eat, so the rest of the family can eat. And that weighed really heavy on my heart. And I said, yeah, I heard you say sponsored. How many children are there? There's 700 children. There's 150 of them sponsored. 550 of them are not sponsored. So I go back to the church where we're putting the roof on, and we're seeing all these, there's kids there, and there's probably 40 people underneath this, where we're working. And I'll never forget this. It was like a dream. We're there every day. We see the same children, and there's this one little girl about 8 or 9 years old. She's cute. She reminds me of my daughter. And she just stood up and she looked into me. And when I say into me, she didn't look at me. She looked into me, like into my eyes, into my soul, into my being. It was like one of those things you see in a movie where there's 100 people around you, but you don't see or hear anything. Just her and me. I mean, it was just her and me. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. What if that were my daughter that I could not afford to give food to every day? What if that were my daughter that needed medical help because she was hurt and I couldn't help her? What if that were my daughter roaming around the church with no shoes on because she had no other existence but that? And it was like a bolt of lightning that hit me. We need to get every single one of these 550 children sponsored. So I come back to Florida. Scott calls me and asks me if I would be interested in heading this up. It's like God put the two of us together. I was about to call him and ask him the same question. So we go back to Haiti, and it's me and Scott, Paul again, and Jason Makela. And we go, and if you could put the picture up here, Scott is, there's a school, okay, and if you can see the scene, it's very difficult to see, but there's a fence, okay, and on this side of the fence where we are, this is where the children are that are getting an education. On the other side of the fence are the people that are not. Pastor Scott is passing out Tootsie Rolls, and people are clamoring for their Tootsie Rolls, and the mothers are holding up their children saying, please help me feed my child because they're hungry. He's not passing out hot dogs. He's not passing out pizza. He's not passing out burgers. He's passing out Tootsie Rolls. And he has to stop, because if you look here, there's cactuses on the other side, and people are pushing so hard that 5- and 6-year-old kids, their faces are getting smashed into the cactuses for Tootsie Rolls. And you can change that. For $30 a month, you can take a child from that side of the fence that doesn't eat every day onto this side of the fence that eats every day. You can take a child from that side of the fence where they don't have an education and no medical care and bring them on this side of the fence. For $30 a month, you can change a child's life. You can change a child's life. And to show you what that looks like, the first day, the first trip that I had went, after Brent had told me about the sponsorship, I said, I'd like to sponsor a child. And he said to me, what kind of child would you like to sponsor? And I said, it really doesn't make much of a difference. I mean, if I had my druthers, I would pick a boy that had some gumption, that after he got an education, for 12 years, or however long they go to school, when they come out, that he'd be able to do something to change the world around him. So they bring me to the principal, I explain the story, and the principal says, I think I know a boy like that. His name is Dawens, and he's up on the hill. I says, would you like to go? I says, of course. So we drive over, and it's not a hill, it's a mountain. I mean, they said it was a hill. It's like this. Picture this going up this. I'm like, I said, guys, that's a mountain. No, it's a hill. I'm like, okay, but it's a mountain. So we're hockeying, and we're going up, and I'm sweating, and it's like 900 degrees. I feel like I'm going to burst into flames. And I'm going up this hill, and I'm sweating, and I'm people going up and down like it's nothing, and I have to take a fat break under a tree because I literally feel one of my chins melting off my face. So we get to the top of this hill, mountain, and then there's Dawens. And you'll notice that the picture's taken from his stomach up, because from the stomach down, he doesn't have any underwear, he doesn't have any clothes, he doesn't have any shoes. So my family adopts Dawens. We come back on the second trip. Now the second trip, again, it's Jason and Paul and Scott and me, and we are delivering those boxes that many of you gave, the shoe boxes with the stuff inside. And along with other churches that did too, we brought 700 boxes, and we went to every school and delivered 700 boxes to 700 children. It was an awesome experience. And in the middle of this, someone taps my shoulder and says, by the way, this is Dawens' teacher, and this is Dawens. He's got a report card. A month ago, he didn't have pants. He's got a report card. And it was a good report card, probably better than when I was his age. And his teacher tells me that he is the first child in his neighborhood to go to school, not just in his family. You can do this for $30 a month. I mean, literally, you could take a kid out of a mountain. You could take that kid out of the mountain that has no pants, that maybe does not eat every day, and turn him into a child that's getting an education, a Christian education, a report card. He gets to eat, which we take so for granted. And you can do that. You can change a child's life. Now, there's people in this church that are struggling, and we get that. It's tough times. And if you don't have $30 a month to do that, then I pray that you pray for the people that do. And if you do, I'd like to take a 30-second exercise. I want you to picture what you spend $30 a month on. And I'm not going to do what most people do. Well, talk about the $30 that you waste. Let's talk about $30 that you enjoy. What do you do to spend $30 on? Do you go to Chick-fil-A with your family? Is it once a month pizza night? For me, it's the movies. I love going to the movies with my family and the popcorn. And think about how that experience makes you feel. Now I want you to think about every month when you get your credit card statement and you see $30 on it, and you know that you changed a child's life, not a nameless, faceless child, a child that you have chosen, that you've changed that child's life, a child that didn't have pants, that now is going to eat every day because of you, a child that is going to get a Christian education and an education in medical care because of you. Let me tell you something, when you get that credit card statement, there is not one thing that you could possibly tell me that you spend $30 on that will invoke the same gratification as that. I mean, it literally brings up one question. Why would you spend $30 anywhere else? He made me say that. He made me say that. And we ask you,
You're supposed to stand up. Stand up. Okay.
Still tired from walking up that hill. And we ask you to do 1+. We ask you to sponsor a child, and then we ask you to try to find a family member, a friend, someone that you know that you think it would resonate with, and say, this is such an awesome cause. Do you think that you might want to do it? And some of the people that were on the Haiti trip will be back there if you have any questions. Where you would go after you leave this service is you would leave the building, go out to the right. There's 5 tables, and they're orange tabletops, and you can go and you can pick a child, you can see a picture, you can see the biography, and you literally can change a child's life for $30 a month.
One of the things that when we started this 3 years ago that is unique to this program, maybe than anything else you've seen, is it was our commitment when we launched this that every single penny would go to these kids. And so as a church, what we've committed to do is every expense that is incurred through this whole entire project, we pay out of our outreach budget. So when you sponsor a kid for $30 a month, it's not that like $10 gets to the kid. Every single penny that you sponsor, everything goes to the kid. We even pay your credit card charges, the 2% or whatever. Every administration thing, I mean, all of it comes out of our operating budget and out of those things to help that, because we wanted to create a program where people could realize, hey, when I'm sponsoring my kid and that $30 a month, it didn't go $20 here and $5 here and the kid gets one little thing. No, 100% of every penny that you spend to your kid is going directly to your kid, and every expense associated with that is coming out through the church. So I just want to challenge you, like Lewis said, it is such an amazing thing when you sit in the fence and outside of the fence, and you see the differences, these kids, the hope, the smiles, the fact they discover God in these places. It's absolutely amazing. And so you and your family have the opportunity to do that. And so right after the service, we'll kind of give you one little reminder, but go there. You can do it today. We have like 10 iPads out there ready to go. The kids there, you can sponsor right there. There's tents. Lou will be out there with the team. They got questions. And so I just want to challenge you guys in this. Challenge us. If you feel God tugging on your heart, if you sense that God is calling you to do this, and maybe some of you are already doing that, that's okay. I'm not here to guilt you. But if that's it, then be obedient and step through. And let's together do this as a church. We have 95, I believe, more
96.
children. 96, and we already have 60 sponsored. So we can go to 150 today if we fill these things up. And we're continuing to reach out to get all of these kids sponsored. So if you wouldn't mind, let's kind of bow our head and just prayer and just dedicate this sponsor care and just make God do his thing. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the privilege that we get to change a child's life. Remembering what you said, whatever you've done to the least of these brothers and sisters, you've done to me. And God, I just pray that you would just knock on the hearts of the people of the Journey Church. And because of this community, we would see hundreds and hundreds of kids find food, shelter, love, a future, hope, experience your love and your compassion and your care. God, continue to just bless this ministry, bless these areas, bless Brett and Diane as they continue to be a light in a truly dark place. Thank you for the privilege that we get as your children to accomplish this very thing. In Jesus' name that I pray, amen.
Amen.
Let's all stand as we continue to worship.